But the story this week was that City wanted to, well, they did fine him a month's money, and the PFA stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. It can only be 2 weeks. Gordon Taylor, the chief executive, got a lot of stick from City over that, and from other people in the game saying, keep your nose out. The club should be able to do what they want to do. But where do you sit with that? Well,
I read in a couple of this was a big defeat for City that they tried to impose this fine and they weren't allowed to. The PFA stepped in and said, well, no, you can only do this. And this was a big defeat for City, and I don't think it was. I think it was a big defeat for the PFA. The only way it can be a defeat for City from here on is if they lose the support of their fans and of neutrals. The neutrals, people who like football, who love football, and are looking at this situation. The only way City can lose from now on is if they do something that alienates those people. And all that happened this week was that the PFA had everybody united, looking at this, thinking, well, the PFA are totally wrong about this, and so City. I don't think City can lose from now on. They've handled it. They've tried to do everything they can. If they've got to play him, which I think they have at some stage because of the FIFA regulation, otherwise it becomes a free transfer. Well, and people say, well, that will be a slap in the face of Mancini. It won't, because everyone will know they're playing him under suffering. Yes. Yeah. They're only playing him because they've got to fulfil some sort of contractual obligation. You've got to think of it, in fact, actually, from Tevez's point of view. That'll be a lovely little experience, won't it? Coming on for your 10-minute cameo at the end of it with 40,000 people booing you. Yeah. That'll be tremendous. And have to do that for 10% of the matches so that City can charge a transfer fee.
How many matches do you have to play for under this FIFA thing?
It's 10%. 10%. It's 10%. If you don't play in 10% of your team's matches, you are entitled to basically say it's a restraint of trade.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But just let me put you talk about Man City. You say it's a defeat for the PFA, but. A City right to have alienated Tevez the way that they've done.
Yes.
I mean, Mancini...
absolutely. Yes.
Hang on a second. Mancini came out and said he refused to play and the guy will never play for City again. But there clearly is a case to be answered there. I don't think he refused to play.
Well, he refused to warm up.
I think he refused to warm up. I think he warmed up. I mean, listen, I spoke earlier about, I have to apologise to Keir Jurapson as well because I upset him, but... The point I'm making is that I can slightly understand the confusion.
Which was caused by Tevez, because if he gets up and starts warming up, as he was told to, there's no confusion.
Well, exactly.
So the whole confusion, Paul, is caused by Tevez. Yeah. It's not caused by Mancini. Mancini tells a man to get up and warm up, and he doesn't.
Because you're going on.
Yeah,
End of.
Okay, fine. But then Mancini's gone out and absolutely roasted the guy, hasn't he? He's gone out and press.
Well, that's what we certainly want as journalists. We want people never to give a press conference.
No, that's fine, Martin, right? And principally, I don't disagree with what you're saying about the fact he refused to warm up. But it's slightly different to what Mancini went and said the bloke refused to play.
Well, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You've got to warm up before you go on.
I mean, this is one thing I can't defend Tevez for is the fact that he's been in this country how many years? 5, 6 years, and he can't speak a word of English.
Which is amazing, because the nuances that a man understands.
I don't agree with you.
In all of this, the nuances that are being, that are being massaged and stuff, the nuances of our language, for a bloke that doesn't speak English, it's absolutely fantastic. You have to be a linguistics scholar at Oxford University to get as many nuances out of a sentence as these people have managed to do.
I mean, I'm disappointed in the PFA here. They could have made a stand for football.
Absolutely.
OK, technically, you can only be fined 2 weeks' wages. Gordon Taylor should have said, right, this time we're going to go along with it, because as Martin says, all the neutrals are on Manchester City's side, all the football's on Manchester City's side. The PFA really have let themselves down here. Carlos Tevez is a bad smell in football at the moment, and this was the chance to eradicate it. And I feel the PFA have backed down.
But with all due respect, City fans didn't think that when he was handing in one transfer after another, another. No, they didn't. They were right behind him.
No, they weren't handing a transfer request.
Hang on a second. Every time he handed a transfer question, certainly last season,
City fans were behind him handing in a transfer request.
I don't think City fans were protesting.
What you mean is
in any great numbers.
They were pleased with him last season because he played well. That's what.
Well, you can't have it both ways.
They weren't pleased with him when he was handing a transfer request in. They weren't pleased with him when he announced about his transfer on the day they reported back of pre-season training.
Well, I didn't see any protesters of the like that have gone on
you
now.
can't protest at a closed stadium.
No. We all know what's going to happen.
It was the middle of the
Well, no,
summer.
since he's playing,
It was the middle of the
City
summer.
fans loved him, Tevez.
Everybody can talk forever. What's going to happen in January? He'll go cut price deal. I know City is saying we're not going to sell below 50 million. They'll let him go.
£20 million.
Anyway,
they've had enough of him. They've had enough of his advisor. They've had enough of the Tevez.
So going back to the PFA thing, I mean, what the hell are the PFA doing involved in it? Because they're only interested in the player anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling me that's not, unbiased in any way, shape or form.
I mean,
they've intervened, haven't they? Because they're only interested in the player.
Yeah, but they can look after football as well, Smithy.
Well, they're not going to look after football, John, because they represent they're the players' union.
Yeah, he's a player.
So, yeah, but they represent the player.
Right.
Gordon Taylor represented him personally.
Yeah, but you can turn.
What I'm saying is
you can turn a blind eye to sometimes
but what I'm
rules
saying is
for the sake of the game.
No way is Gordon Taylor going to do that. That's why what I'm saying is
he should be
no.
able
But
to.
what I'm saying is I don't agree with the fact that the PFA were involved in this process.
No, we all agree with that.
It's these draconian rules that the PFA have implemented that are ludicrous.
Yeah. What is the point you're making?
I don't know.
It's messy. It's as messy as the Carlos Tevez.
Lionel Messi.
I stopped understanding this 15 minutes ago.
John's making
I'm
the
going to
point.
read a paper.
No, John's making the same point that Martin was making.
Yeah.
Basically
John's
saying
point,
it
though.
was an opportunity for Gordon Taylor to
make
make
a
a
stand.
stand for football.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about that, Gordon Taylor.
Well, he should do. Of course he could.
He cares about players,
I
Martin.
think Gordon does care very deeply
Yeah, he
about
does.
football, actually.
He cares
But I
about-
just
he cares
think
about
that-
players.
I just think that sometimes, so in this instance, the fact that he feels it is his duty to defend, and he will
He personally represented
believe
him.
that what Gordon
Yes.
would be looking at here is that what he is trying to protect is
Rebel footballers.
what he's trying to protect is the right of footballers to have a structure, a disciplinary structure
Correct.
in their dealings with clubs. And what he will think is, if he turns a blind eye to this one, then the next time it's the left back at Port Vale, and they will say 6 months' money, and the guy's
Correct.
got no redress and no way of defending himself. And if the PFA step in on his behalf, they will just claim, well, you didn't do anything.
So what would
about
happen to
Tevez
you,
at
Martin, if
Manchester
you
City.
refused to go and cover something for your newspaper?
Just 1 second, Paul. And this is what he is protecting. It's just that I think that the statement that he made, I can understand why he wants to protect the rules that they've got, but the statement that he made that was very it condemned Manchester City in quite strong terms. I thought that was unnecessary, because Gordon Taylor could have taken perhaps a middle ground, a third way, call it what you will, of saying, right, we have got to try to protect the disciplinary process. At the same time, I can understand that this is really serious. This is above and beyond most of the cases we look at, and whilst we defend this, we certainly don't appear as if we are on the side of people just refusing to play for the manager, or not refusing to play for them, refusing to warm up to the manager, which equates to refusing
the whole
to.
circumstances.
That's what I would have liked to have said. That's excellent. Thank you very much.
Well,
that was the point you were trying to make.
Martin said it, and I find this football stuff absolute load of garbage, really, to be fair. I mean, these rules implemented by the PFA about
Rules are rules.
The football rules, aren't they? They're football rules. Like I said to you, Martin, what would happen to you if you refused to actually go and cover something in your paper? You said, I'm not going.
So you have to answer this quickly.
I'm not going.
What would happen? Well, I think what you find is that Associated Newspapers, there is a disciplinary structure for work-related disputes, and I think you'll find that's the case at every single major company in this country, and that's what football's got, and there's no problem with that.
Okay, we move on, and Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich wants to build a new stadium with a bigger capacity, but the fans won't